Chapter 30. Sci tie. That's a T. Sci tie. So sci-fi. I don't know. There's no peace in sci-fi's head. The Fry doesn't know how bad it is. The Fry doesn't know how the feelings crash over him like a storm-driven waves pounding a failing seawall. The wall's gonna collapse soon, and when it does, Sci will lose it. He'll lose everything. His mind will spill out of his ears and down the drains of the streets of Joplin. He knows it. Then he sees the sign. Now entering Joplin. His heart is his own, but it pounds in his chest, threatening to burst. And wouldn't that be a fine thing? They'd rush him to the hospital, give him someone else's ticker, and have to deal with that. He'd have that kid to deal with too. This boy in the corner of his head doesn't talk to him in words. He feels. He emotes. He doesn't understand that he's only a part of another kid. It's like how in a dream you know some things, and there are things you should know, but you don't. This kid, he knows where he is, but he doesn't know he's not all here. He doesn't know he's part of someone else now. He keeps looking for things in Cyrus's head that just aren't there. Memories, connections. He keeps looking for words, but Cyrus's brain codes words differently. So the kid hurls out anger, terror, grief, waves pounding the wall, and beneath it all, there's a current tugging Sci forward. Something must be done here. Only the kid knows what it is. Would it help to have a map? Asks the Fry. Would it help to have a map? Asks the Fry. This gets Sci mad. Map won't help me, he says. I need to see stuff. I need to be places. A map is just a map. It ain't being there. They stand at the corner of the outskirts of Joplin. It's like diving for water. Divining. I don't know. Divining. I'm just gonna say that. Nothing looks familiar. He doesn't know this place, Sci says. Let's try another streak. Block after block, intersection after intersection. It's the same. Nothing. Joplin is a small town, but not so small that a person could know all of it. Then, at last, they go to a main street. There are shops and restaurants up and down the road, just like any other town this size, but... Wait! What is it? He knows this street, says Sci. There, that ice cream shop. I can taste pumpkin ice cream. I hate pumpkin ice cream. I'll bet he didn't. Cyrus nods. It was his favorite. The loser. He points a finger at the ice cream shop and slowly swings his arm open to the left. He comes walking from that direction. He swings his arm... I already read that. And when... he comes walking from that direction. He swings his arm to the right. And when he's done, he goes that way. So, do we track where he comes from or where he goes? Sci chooses to go left because he finds himself at Joplin High. Some of the eagles, he gets an image of a sword and instantly knows. Fencing. This kid was on the fencing team here. Swords are shiny, the Fry notes. Sci would throw him a dirty look if he weren't right on target. Swords are, indeed, shiny. He wonders if the kid ever stole swords, and realizes that yes, he probably did. Stealing the swords of opposite teams is a time-honored tradition of fencing. This way, says the Fry, taking the lead. He must have gone from school to the ice cream shop to home. Home is where we're going, right? The answer comes to Sci as an urge deep in his brain that shoots straight to his gut. Salmon, more like a swordfish twisted on a line, and that line is pulling him relentlessly toward home, says Sci. Right. Twilight now. Kids are out on the street. Half the cars have headlights on. As far as anyone knows, they're just two neighborhood kids headed wherever neighborhood kids go. No one seems to notice them. There's a police car a block away. It was parked, and now it begins moving. They pass the ice cream parlor, and as they do, Cyrus can feel the change inside him. It's in his walk. It's in the way he holds himself. It's all the tension points in his face. They're not changing. They're changing. His eyebrows lower. His jaw opens slightly. I'm not myself. The other kid is taking over. Should Sci let it happen, or should he fight it? But he knows it's already past the point of fighting. The only way to finish this is to let it happen. Sci? Says the kid next to him. Sci looks at him, and although part of him knows it's just Lev, another part of him panics. He instantly knows why. closes his eyes for a moment and tries to convince the kid in his head that Fry is a friend, not a threat. The kid seems to get it, and his panic drops a notch. Sai reaches a corner and turns left like he's done it 100 times. The rest of him shudders, and now he tries to keep up with his determined temporal lobe. Now a feeling comes on him. Nervous, annoyed. He knows he must find a way to translate it into words. I'm gonna be late. They're gonna be so mad. They're always so mad. Late for what? Dinner. They're gonna eat it right on time, or I'll get hell for it. They could eat me without it, but they don't. But they won't. They could eat it without me, but they don't. But they won't. But they don't. They just stew, and the food goes cold. It's my fault. My fault. Always my fault. So I gotta sit there and ask what was my day. Fine. What did I learn? Nothing. What did I do in the wrong time? Everything. It's not his voice. It's his vocal cords, but it's not the same voice coming in. Same tones, but different inflections. A different accent. Like the way he might have talked if he came from Joplin, home of the Eagles. As they turn another corner, Sai catches sight of the cop car again. It's behind them, following slowly. No mistake about it. It's following. And that's not all. There's another police car up ahead. One that's waiting for them in front of the house. His house. My house. Sai is the salmon after all, and that police car is the bear. But even so, he can't stop. He gets to that house or die trying. As he nears the front walk, two men get out of a familiar Toyota parked across the street. It's the dads. They look at him, relief in their faces, but also pain. They knew where he was coming. They must have known all along. Cyrus, one of them calls. He wants to run up to them. He wants to just take him home, but he stops himself. You can't go home, not yet. They both stride toward him, getting in his path, but smart enough not to get in his face. I gotta do this, says a voice he knows isn't his at all. That's when the police leap from their cars and grab him. They're too strong for him to fight off, so he looks at the dads. I gotta do this, he says again. Don't be the bear. They look at each other, not understanding what he means, but then maybe they do, because they step aside and say to the cops, let him go. This is Lev. Wait, this is Lev, Cyrus says, amazed that the Fry is willing to risk his own safety and stand by Sai now. Nobody bothers him either. The dads take the brief moment to acknowledge the Fry, but quickly return their attention to Cyrus. The cops frisk Sai to make sure he has no weapon, and satisfied, they let him go on toward the house. But there is a weapon. It's something sharp and heavy. Right now it's just in the corner of his mind, but in a few moments it won't be. And now Sai's scared, but he can't stop. There's a police officer at the front door talking to the hushed tones to a man and a woman standing at the threshold. They glance nervously at Sai. The part of Sai that isn't Sai knows the middle-aged couple so well. He's hit by a lightning bolt of emotion so violent he feels like he'll incinerate. As he walks toward the door, the flagstone path seems to undulate beneath his feet like a funhouse floor. Then finally he's standing before them. The couple looks scared, horrified. Part of him is happy that, part of him sad, and part of him wishes he could be any place else in the world, but he no longer wishes which part is which. He opens his mouth to speak, trying to translate his feelings into words. Give it, he demands. Give it to me, Mom. Give it, Dad. The woman covers her mouth and turns away. She presses out tears like a sponge in a fist. Tyler, says the man. Tyler, is that you? It's the first time Cyrus had a name to go. And with that part of him, Tyler. Yes, I'm Cyrus, but I'm also Tyler. I'm Sai-Tai. Hurry, Sai-Tai says. Give it to me. I need it now. What, Tyler? Says the woman through her tears. What do you want from us? Sai-Tai tries to say it, but he can't get the word. He can't even imagine it straight. It's a thing. It's a weapon. The image won't come, but the action does. He's miming something. He leans forward, puts one arm in front of the other. He's holding something long, angling it down. He thrusts both arms lower, and now he knows it's not a weapon he seeks. It's a tool. But he understands the action he's miming. He's digging. Shovel, he says with a breath of relief. I need a shovel. The man and the woman look at each other. The policeman beside them nods, and the man says, it's out in the shed. Sai-Tai takes a beeline through the house and comes out the back door with everyone following behind him. The couple, the cops, the dads, the Fry. He heads toward he heads straight for the shed, grabs a shovel. He knew exactly where it was, and heads toward a corner of the yard where some twigs stick out of the ground. The twigs have been tied to form lopsided crosses. Sai-Tai knows this corner of the yard. He feels this place in his gut. This is where he buried his pets. He doesn't know their names or even what animals they were, but he suspects one of them was an Irish setter. He gets images of what happened to each of them. One met up with a pack of wild dogs, another with a bus, the third old age. He takes a shovel and thrusts it into the ground, but not near any of the graves. He'd never disturbed them. Instead, he presses the shovel into the soft earth 2 yards behind the graves. He grunts with every thrust of the shovel, hurling the dirt wildly to the side. Then, at just about 2 feet down, the shovel hits something with a dull thud. He drops to all fours and begins scooping out the earth with his hands. With the dirt cleared away, he reaches in, grabs a handle, and tugs until it comes up. He's holding a briefcase. It's waterlogged and covered with mud. He puts it on the ground, flicks open the latches, and opens it. The moment he sees what's inside, Sai-Tai's entire brain seizes. He's frozen like a total system lockup. He can't move, can't think, because it's all so bright, so shiny in the slanted red rays of sun. There's so many pretty things to look at, but he can't move. He must move. He must finish this. He digs both of his hands into the jewelry-filled briefcase, feeling the fine gold chain slide over his hands, feeling the rattle of metal against metal. There are diamonds and rubies, zircons and plastic, the priceless and the worthless, all mixed in together. He doesn't remember where or when he stole any of it. He only knows that he did. He stole it, hoarded it, and hid it, put it in his own little grave, and dug it up when he needed it. But if he can get it back, then maybe, with hands tangled in gold chains more binding than the handcuffs on the policeman's belt, he crumbles toward the man and woman. Bits and pieces, rings and pins fall from the tangled bundle into the bush of the yard. They slip through his fingers, but still he holds on to what he can until he's in front of the man and the woman, who now hold each other as if cowering in the path of a tornado. Then he falls to his knees, drops the bundle of shiny things at their feet, and rocking back and forth makes a desperate plea. "Please," he says. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Please," he says. "Take it. I don't need it. I don't want it. Please," he says. "Do anything, but don't unwind me." And all of that, Sai realizes that Tyler doesn't know. The part of his body which comprehends time and place isn't there. It never will be. Tyler can't understand that he's already gone, and nothing Sai can do can ever make him understand. So he goes on wailing. "Please don't unwind me. I'll do anything. Please don't unwind me. Please." Then behind him, he hears a voice. That was chapter 30. Kind of weird. Cyrus, or Sci-Fi, meets the people he meets the parents of the guy who's in his brain, who replaced part of his brain, and he's having a meltdown. So